Happy Friday, guys. Hopefully you guys are having a good rest of your week. So today we are going to work on 6.03 substitution method. So we are again looking at a different method for solving systems of equations. So again, we're still looking at something that has two equations, but now today we're going to look at substitution rather than graphing. So the first warm-up question says, who am I? I am a point in a coordinate plane. I am a solution to 4x minus 5y equals 2. I am a solution to y equals negative 2x plus 8. Who am I? So go ahead and pause the video and try to find the answer to that. So hopefully you guys notice that this is a graphing solutions problem. So if you graph both of those equations, you can see that the solution is 3, 2. So that one's easiestly done by graphing. So today we're going to look at how can I solve simple linear equations by using substitution. So when we substitute, what we want to do is we want to first isolate either the x or y. So if we want to substitute something, we want to be able to plug it in for either x or y. So just kind of like how we practiced on Wednesday with plugging in numbers for x and y, except this time we're going to have expressions. So the first step we need to do is solve for one of the x or y's. Once we have that solved for one of the variables, so if we see here, this is solved for y, we can replace that y with what we know y equals. So what that looks like is, you can see this green here, and you put it in parentheses. Just like when we put those numbers in parentheses, you're going to do the same exact thing, except it's an expression. And we're going to simplify just like we distributed and solved on Wednesday. So you're going to go ahead and distribute that -4 and continue to solve until you can find your x value. Once you find your x value, you have to go back and find your y value. So the easiest thing to do would be to go back and plug the x value into the equation that's already solved for y and simplify. So we would end up with 2 times 2 minus 5 equals -1. So let's go ahead and do one together. So first thing is we need to get one of the variables isolated. So we can see here that y is already isolated. So we already have that step completed. What we need to do next is replace that y value in the other equation with what y is equal to. So what that looks like is we would have go ahead and write it. We end up with, we want to keep that 2x. So we get 2x minus 4, and then we want to replace that y value with what y is equal to. So y equals 5x minus 3. And that equals -6. So everything else stays the same. The only thing we need to replace here is that y value. Then we can go ahead and distribute. So when we distribute, we end up with -4 times 5x is -20x. And -4 times -3 is -12. And then we want to bring down our 2x and -6. And then we can continue to solve here. So we want to combine our like terms. So 2x minus 20x gives us -18x minus 12 equals -6. You guys can make sure you don't forget your line as well. Then we need to add 12 to both sides. So that gives us -18x equals 6. And lastly, divide by that -18 on both sides. And either you guys can simplify in your head or simplify with Desmos. So if you simplify it in Desmos, it would be -6 over 18. Oop, not -9, -6 over 18, which is simplified to -1/3. Now, we also still have to go back and find our y value. So the easiest way to do that is to plug it back into that equation. So when we do that, we end up with y equals 5 times -1/3 minus 3. 5 times -1/3, 5 times -1 is -5 over 3. And we can simplify the rest. So -5 over 3 minus 3 equals -14/3. So we end up with y equals -14/3. So your solution when you write it would be -1/3 and -14/3. So make sure you find both the x and y value. Okay, let's try another one. This one we have x is already solved. So this time we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to replace the x value this time rather than the y value. So when we do that, we want to go ahead and we have 3y equals, and we're going to plug in our 2y minus 4. And don't forget about that plus 7. Okay, so we just replace that x with what x equals. Now, all of this is addition and subtraction, so we do not need to really have these parentheses there. So we can combine our like terms, which would be -4 plus 7. So that'd be 3y equals 2y plus 3. And to solve, we want to subtract those 2y from both sides, because remember when you have x or y's on both sides or a variable on both sides, you want to move the smaller one. And when you do that, 3y minus 2y is 1y or just y. So that gives us y equals 3. And we need to go back and plug that in. You can plug it into either equation. So either this one or this one, it really doesn't matter. The first one is a little bit easier because it's already solved for x. You don't have to do extra solving. So let's go ahead and plug it in to that one. So you get x equals 2 times 3 minus 4. 2 times 3 is 6 minus 4 equals -2. And remember, make sure you put them in order. So putting them in order, that would mean x goes first. So that'd be -2, 3 would be your solution. The next example. So again here, we want to substitute. So we have we have y already solved, so we're going to use y as what we're substituting. So we're going to replace y with 2x minus 1. So when we plug that in, we get 3x plus, and I'm going to leave a little space here for us to plug that in, and then negative 9. And we want to plug in what y equals. So 2x plus 1. So for this one, again, we're going to solve. So we see here that they're all split up by addition and subtraction. So we can go ahead and combine our like terms. We don't have anything to distribute. So we want to combine the 3x and the 2x. That's 5x plus 1. And then equals negative 9. Then we can subtract 1 from both sides. That gives us 5x equals 8. Divide by 5 on both sides. That gives us x equals 8/5. And again, we need to go back and solve for that y value. So I'm going to go back and plug the x value in there. So once you do so, that gives us y equals 2 times 8/5 plus 1. And you guys, once you get here, it's all numbers. You can also use Desmos. You don't have to do everything by hand here. So that would, if I use Desmos, 2 times 8/5, parenthesis. So you have to go over and then put your parenthesis. I believe it was plus 1. Yep. Okay, which gives us 4.2, or you can put it in a fraction form, and that is 21/5. Then we need to put them in the correct ordered pair. So that would be 8/5, 8/5, and 21/5. You could also write them in decimal form if you would like. We're going to do 2 more together. The next one, we can see here x is already solved. So we know x equals negative 2y. So we're going to replace that x with negative 2y. And if you guys would like to try any of these on your own, just go ahead and pause me and try it on your own first, and then go ahead and press play and check your answer. So you get negative 2. Keep consistent with my colors. We want negative 2y. We're going to plug that in for our x value there. And the rest of the equation, we want negative y equals 9. To solve this one, we want to combine our like terms. So negative 2y and negative y is negative 3y. Divide by negative 3 on both sides. That gives us y equals negative 3. Okay, then we need to go back and find our x value. So we want to plug it into the one that's already solved for x. When we do so, we get x equals negative 2 times negative 3. So that's x equals 6. Put them in the correct order pair. That's 6, negative 3. Last but not least, this one has a number for the variable. So they already give us one of the values. So same thing, it looks a little bit different, but it's the same exact thing. We're gonna go ahead and take 5 and plug it in for y. So what that looks like is negative 3x plus 4, and we want to replace that y value with 5 equals 8, and then we're going to solve for the x value. So we want to multiply first, so that would be negative 3x. 4 times 5 is positive 20 equals 8. Subtract 20 from both sides. That gives us negative 3 equals negative 12. Divide by negative 3. That gives us x equals negative 4. Okay, and lastly, we need to find the y value. But they already gave us the y value. So we don't even need to solve that piece. They already gave it to us. So make sure you're not doing more work than you have to. You could plug the x value back into that second equation to find the y value as well, but you'll still get the same one. So the solution is negative 4, 5. So I want you guys to go ahead and practice solving 7, 8, and 9 on your own. See if you can come up with the correct answers for those ones. Go ahead and give me messages in the chat if you guys have questions at all, and fill out your exit ticket. We are going to continue working on this on Monday. So if you do not have any questions now, but you save your questions till Monday, I'd be happy to answer them. Have a wonderful weekend, guys, and I'll see you on Monday.